Welcome back, Shapeshifters. Today's episode is all about how to have energetic sovereignty in a KI world. We know that not all energy is good energy. And so how do you shield yourself from energy that just does not serve you? And that is what this episode is all about. We are going to dive into some powerful practices that are going to help you protect your spirit, set boundaries, and more importantly, reclaim your peace in a world that just demands too much. And I was reflecting on a time where I had an aha moment around my home and energetic sovereignty. As many of you know, I've been hosting retreats in Trancones, Mexico for the last 3 years, and I've been doing retreats for a while, the last 6 years. And this last retreat, when folks were saying, well, how did it go? You know, I know that this is a big thing you do every year. And I was like, yeah. And it wasn't just so much that people had an amazing time or that people had an experience, because that tends to be the case from all of my retreats. The standout this time was that I felt good, that I had a level of energy that I hadn't had before. And I remember thinking back to the first couple of years that I was hosting retreats, and I didn't know how to delegate, and I would take so much on my home plate, and I would walk out the final day. Everybody would be so energized and like reborn and have this new light and this new glow. And I literally would be curled up in the fetal position with a migraine headache. It was that I had given so much that my cup was literally on empty, and I didn't know how to get it back. But I also knew that this is not sustainable, right? And that if I'm going to be in the business of doing healing work, yes, I want to support the healing of others, but at the end of the day, it cannot be at my expense. And we'd all know someone in our life, in our family, or probably even us, to where we're doing amazing work out in the world, but at what cost, right? It's costing us our peace. It's costing us our health. It's costing us relationships. It's costing us our ability to just live a purpose-driven life. And we think, and we become almost programmed to think that that's what healing work or even social justice work looks like. I also work in the social justice field. I work in nonprofits in the cooperative space. And when you are doing community work, community organizing, there's this idea that you kind of have to, drive yourself into the ground, that burnout is natural. And this probably goes for every industry, right? I'm just talking about mine, but the way that we normalize burnout in our culture and our society. And so I thought about, well, what was different? And what I realized is the more I got into doing a thing, I understood what I needed to, how to optimize that experience. And so I started collaborating more with other practitioners that could hold space for parts of the day that I couldn't, right? Even a collaborative partner being where I held the space. If they already had yoga, they already had food built in. So cool. Those are two things I don't have to think about because the retreat space is holding those down and their values align. I hired an assistant, which was a complete breakthrough, right? And realized that there are things that I could take off my task list. I planned ahead in a whole different way. And when I mean planning ahead is like, oh, when I'm preparing for a retreat, I actually need some quiet time to hold space for the container that I'm already in the process of energetically co-creating with the participants, even though we are not face to face. I'm already tapping into their stories, their needs. And when the retreat is over, I also have to have space to recalibrate. When I was booking myself, I'd be booking my other client work right before the day I have a retreat. I do the retreat. I go right back to work. That didn't work, right? I had to start building in breath work and body work and getting a massage before the retreat and after the retreat, right? My food plan, all of these things I started changing and optimizing. And I realized that the more that I leaned into that, the more energy that I had, the more I was able to enjoy this experience in a different way and stop focusing on being in my head and how everyone else is feeling, but making sure that I'm constantly hydrating and drinking enough water and eating properly, because these are things that I would just abandon, if you will, to a certain extent, because I was so focused on the experience that everyone else is getting. So this time when my friend was like, yo, how was it? I was like, it was so good. And I feel so good. I felt like I walked away from that experience with my cup overflowing. I had so much energy. It was empowering. It wasn't just that I reached the level of homeostasis. It actually supported me and just feeling better all around. It was like I was able to be at the retreat and I was able to benefit from giving because I wasn't giving from a place of scarcity. I was giving from a place of overflow. And that was such a big learning for me. And I'm always asking people and telling my clients, like, one of the things that we can do is reverse hack positive situations and challenging situations, right? What are the learnings that we can go back and pull out of the thing? And I was able to go back to that experience and pull those learnings out and not just apply them to my next retreat, apply them to my life. And so those are some of the tools that I want to share with you today, show shifters. One, just being able to have an awareness of what your energy is. So even as I'm talking to you right now, I want you to just give yourself a couple moments to just give yourself an energetic scan. And just scan your energy. Scan your energy, scan your body from the top of your head. How does it feel? Is it tight? Are your jaws clenched? Is your face in a certain position? How are your shoulders right now? Are they uptight? Are they relaxed and falling down? How is your back? How is your posture? Are you slumped over? Are you able to hold from a place of your core? Traveling all the way down, how does your back feel? We know that many people who have back issues is because literally the mental burden of all of the things that they're holding on their backs. But just stand. Again, we're standing from a judgment-free zone all the way down to your hips and to your buttocks and your torso. How's that feeling? Do you feel bloated? Do you feel constricted? Do you feel tight? Do you feel hungry? Right? Are you thirsty? Is your body well? Just standing, not having to do anything, just feeling the feeling of how it feels in this moment. All the way down through your buttocks, your thighs. How are your legs feeling? Are they tight? Are they comfortable? Do you need to reposition them? All the way down to your ankles or to your feet. Just being able to have self-awareness. And that's one of the biggest and the first things that we have to do when we think about protecting our energies. We have to be aware of our energy. And that means we have to have a focused level of intentionality to listen to our body, to hear our body, because our body is talking, right? It's always talking with that little bit of tightness, with why I clench my jaw in a certain way, with why maybe when I get a migraine, it happens on this side of my head, the way that I treat the left side of my body versus the right side of my body. Does one side of my body feel more constrained than the other? I know that I have a hip. My right hip is always higher than my left one, believe it or not, my hips. So I have to work on that symmetry, right? And that symmetry and that self-awareness allows the Kundalini energy to rise from the back of my spine all the way up. This is where we get our chi. So that comes from a level of self-awareness. And this is something that the ancients knew. This is something that our ancestors were so tapped into, and why they believed that their physical body was the first temple. You are always home because your home is the physical body that you have. This physical body is the series of antennas, and it is in co-communication with the forces of nature. That's why when we go out into the forest, when we go out to nature, we actually feel better because we are nature and nature is us, and we're tapping in and tuning into those frequencies, and we're melding with the frequencies of the tree and the frequencies of the sun. And that energy is transferring to us, and we're in a co-creation, co-collaborative relationship with nature, not the place of dominating or controlling. And so that self-awareness allowed them to know that just as animals go out into the savannah, just as animals are living in the sea, there is danger. There is no guarantee that you're going to be able to get from point A to point B. Many of you may have seen these beautiful turtles that they come over to the coast of the ocean and parts of the Caribbean Sea and the Pacific coast, and they lay their eggs and then they hatch. And these beautiful baby turtles hatch on the coastline. And then those beautiful baby turtles have to make it from the coastline all the way back into the sea, where they continue their journey. But that first leg, can you imagine having to break out of a shell? Hello, the tension and it break out of a shell Come out into a realm you've never experienced before. Start walking for the first time in your life because, again, we are intelligent. Nature is intelligent. It knows what to do. And as you're learning how to walk for the first time, you're also walking on sand. How many of us have walked on sand? It ain't easy, right? And imagine these are little baby turtles. They got little legs. And we know that the prey that loves to eat, the birds that love to eat these baby turtles be like, yep, it's that time. It's time. They bloom the dinner time dance. Hey, I know these turtles is about to open up. They about to be walking. It's that real tender meat. I like that baby tender meat. You know what I'm saying? Because they want to eat these turtles. And these turtles have to literally, for the moment they awaken, they are fighting for their lives. And making it into the sea is a triumph in and of itself. And yet nature does it all the time. And I could go on and on and on with example after example. But the point I want you to get here is there's no place in nature where they feel or believe that life is promised, that they don't have to protect themselves. You may also be aware of elephant migrations and how elephants travel in groups, the family group travel together, multi-generational, and how the mother, the elder elephants will actually walk in a formation that protects the babies because they know that the smaller elephants are susceptible to other animals, that they may not make it. So even the animals know, not to mention horrible humans who poach elephants, that's a whole nother story. But there's nowhere in nature where they believe that life is promised, that they are going to survive. Survival is not promised. That's why we say survival of the fittest. And fittest is not necessarily about knowledge. It's about wisdom. Even when we think about other indigenous cultures, not only the way that they would come together as a community unit to protect the elders, to protect the children, the way that they would fortify their cities and their villages in a way to protect them from prey, protect them from some of these predatory animals that may come in and invade the village, that may come in and eat up their crops. So we know that these cultures, hey, you don't get your crop for that year. That's life or death. There's no guarantee that you will survive. If they would wear amulets and jewelry and protection totems, that they would have protection rituals so to allow them to receive a boost from the universe because they knew that survival was not a guarantee. So all of these places in nature and in our indigenous community, we see that survival and protection are things that ancestors and humans have been doing since the beginning of time. And we fast forward to this timeline where there is an array of predatory energy, of predatory people, of forces, of systems that are built to ensure you don't survive. Our current medical establishment, Big Pharma, is not making money off of our survival and off of our health and wellness. The prison industrial complex doesn't thrive because it wants people to necessarily survive. The way that our current food system is set up with the level of genetically modified foods and pesticides and additives, which is killing people with disease of high blood pressure, diabetes, cancer, fill it in, is not a system that is based on people surviving. If you were to look at the news and if you would say, hey, would I consider the news optimistic or pessimistic? Is it sharing inspirational stories or is it constantly sharing stories of death, destruction, and division? I think we could all agree on the latter. It's not something that's based on people being inspired, being healthy, being happy. It literally is maintain a program of othering, a constant division of us against them, the bad guy and the good guy character. So we see these countless examples. I could talk about the chemtrails that are in the sky. Many of you can go outside right now, wherever you are, and you'll see chemtrails that's poisoning the air. Many of us, when we open the faucets of our water, we know that there's fluoride in our water, and we know that fluoride is also detrimental. If you study what the current condition of microplastics that are in our bodies being found in breast milk, we're literally filled with plastic. We polluted the planet to such a degree that we're now filled with plastic. And the list goes on and on and on. So it would be naive. I would even go a step further. It would be an example of, they say the definition of insanity is doing the same thing over and over and over again, expecting different results. So we could say that it is insane to think that just navigating the world without any protection would not guarantee our level of survival. That there are things that we are going to have to implement intentionally in order for us to be able to thrive in a world. And let me even go to the next step and talk about the mental fortitude and sovereignty that you need to have. So we talk about energetic sovereignty. We're talking about the ability to intentionally have a set of tools that you can readily apply into your life to architect an energetic field around your physical body that allows for you to be sovereign from, to be able to bounce off. That energy bounces off of you. You are protected in your own energetic field and frequency. And that will act as an energetic stabilizer for your own stress and parasympathetic nervous system. And it'll also act as a magnet to support you in having more, because like attracts like. It will also act as a magnet to magnetize more of that energy from you. And so the ancients knew that. And that is why they were very, very intentional in the way that they dressed, in the way that they spoke, in the way that they ate, in certain rituals and certain traditions that they maintained, even the way that they talk, because they understood that they wanted to stay in a place of being an energetic magnifier and an energetic repeller of what they didn't want, because they knew that when they stepped out into the world, that their life was not a guarantee. And that's why we pray for long life and longevity. We pray for old age because we know that old age, to be an elder, is a gift. What are the ways that we can start incorporating simple tools? Because the reality is we live in a completely new world that no one before us has ever lived in. No other human beings had ever been filled with microplastics and had the ability to have this level of technology. I'm not going to say this level of advanced technology because we know there are technologies that indigenous people created that the Western scientific world still cannot reproduce. For example, they cannot build a pyramid to this day. However, this level of technological advancement, no cycle of humanity has ever been able to experience what we're living right now. So we must constantly be in this place of Afrofuturism. We're taking these ancient Sankofa, go back and then fetch it. And I take the newness of the time, but I fuse it with the folklore of the ancients, harnessing the power of the past, but I'm also bringing it into this place of the future. So that is the call to action that we have. So let's go through some of those things right now. So the first one, as I said, is you want to make sure you're doing that energy audit. You want to make sure that you're reverse hacking for yourself. And this is something very key because what is going to work for you may not work for everybody. There's 8 billion people on the planet. Every single one of us has our own unique fingerprint. So maybe meditating isn't the thing for you. Maybe when you wake up in the morning, it's good for you to get your blood pumping. I know for me, when I wake up in the morning, it's better for me to exercise because that gives me energy. If I go straight from waking up into prayer or meditation, I'm tired. I haven't woken up all the way yet. You have to know what is for you. So all of these things, I would say experiment. Prototype, try some new things, be curious, see what practices really resonate for you and which ones don't, and also find those places and spaces that are already energizing for you. Where do you feel most energizing? When do you feel depleted? When you're getting off the phone with a certain person, if you feel low energy, or you're getting off the phone with a certain person, you feel high energy. Take note of that. When, I realize if I have too many back-to-back Zoom meetings in a day, I'm cashed out at the end of the day. I'm done. There's only so much back-to-back online I can do in a given day. I've had to learn that about myself. So be aware. And maybe for some of you, you're just in a place of observation, grabbing a journal and just reflecting over the next 7 days. Hey, these are the things that really energized me this week. And these are the things that really depleted me. And then look at how you can add more of what energizes you and obviously compost what doesn't. So the very first thing is tapping into that place of self-awareness. And you can do that with an energetic scan or audit that you can do for a week or so. We also have to be aware of the fact that the only thing that can change is you. You are not responsible for other people's energy. You do not have the ability to change anybody's energy. Life is going to life. The news cycle's in a news cycle. The world is going to world. So one thing that we don't want to get into with our level of self-awareness, maybe that's a place of self-awareness. Am I aware that I'm trying to change everything outside of myself that I have no power over? How many things that you're trying to change in life you actually have no power over versus the things you're not changing that you have absolute power over, right? Because that's also a coping mechanism and a cop-out. That's a form of self-sabotage where we realize, oh, I don't have time to think about me because I gotta save the world. Okay, well, how's that working for you? Exactly. It's not. So bring it in, reel it in. Bring it into you and know that the only thing that you have absolute energetic sovereignty over is yourself, full stop. Okay? So self-awareness and then accountability for yourself and your level of agency. Now we're going to review some other tips that you can add into your medicine bag to continue to reclaim your energetic sovereignty. Tech hygiene. Enough studies are out. The data is there. We have to now start incorporating a whole new level of practices around our technical hygiene. And one of those is the blue light exposure. Blue light exposure, which is the light that is emitted when you're on any screen, is contributing to the lowering of our immune system, is contributing to poor vision, is contributing to anxiety and stress. And this is why we feel so depleted, because when you're constantly looking at a screen all day, I know for myself, when I have back-to-back Zooms, I'm like, why am I so tired? I didn't do anything, but I had realized that light is like draining the life force out of me, and I'm just soft. So the reason you feel more tired isn't just because you feel more tired. No, there is an actual chemical reaction that is happening in your brain, in your energetic field. And so wearing blue light glasses, I now got myself a pair of glasses that I wear when I'm looking at a screen, adjusting your lighting. And there's also another piece that we know with technology is the level of electromagnetic frequencies that are giving off in our homes. Some of us are extremely sensitive to those. You have people who are getting crazy migraines that they never got before. We know that the 5G network is contributing to more constant exposure of electromagnetic frequencies. Many of you have heard of this idea of smart cities, which again is going to create more artificial intelligence, more surveillance, again, more screens, more technology in our energetic fields, and that our bodies are starting to have reactions. We are seeing causes of cancer by wearing the constant earbuds. That's why I got rid of earbuds and I actually wear corded earphones now. People might look at me crazy because I'm not the coolest kid on the block, but I'm protecting the electromagnetic frequencies that are getting in my ears. So one of the things that you can do is you can be mindful and you can actually get cutoff switches. I have a cutoff switch in my home where you can cut off the internet at night. There are also diodes. I have a diode on my cell phone. This diode is basically a stone that absorbs some of that electromagnetic that absorbs some of the electromagnetic energy. I also want to add digital detoxes in there. If we don't intentionally get off of this digital crack, even for a day, an afternoon, a couple hours, a week, whatever you can spare, I know that sounds easier said than done. It is not easy, but I know that my attention span is longer when I take time. I notice my energy levels are higher. I notice that I have an interest in more analog activities. It forces me to go out and do things I wouldn't normally do because I don't have that comfort of the phone, of the digital device. So digital detoxes and taking intentional time to just put the phone down, turn the internet off, and do nothing that has to do with that. And that leads me into the next item, which is analog activities. We have to reclaim our energy by doing more things analog: sewing, photography, gardening, coloring, whatever it is for you. Again, this is where find those spaces that you feel more energized and find the places that have you feel more depleted. But when you're putting that phone down, putting that device down, we got to find new things to do. Getting that record player, right? Playing those old CDs that you used to play, pulling out the board games, talking to a friend, and making sure either one of you have screens around. So rediscovering them can be a wonderful, wonderful way to reclaim your energy, because it's going to build your energy by building the creative part of your brain. That creative part of your brain is going to give you a positive dopamine response, and that is going to be a chemical that lets you feel high and feel good and get that hit like you would if you were on the internet, but it's going to be natural and it's going to be more sustainable. Also, breath work. Breath work is so beautiful because it's something that, yes, you can have a whole breath work process that you do every morning, but we're breathing right now. Just take a moment right now and just be mindful of how you're breathing. Do you have a shortness of breath? Are you able to just slow down your breath? Just slow it down a little bit more. And we know that when we're able to slow down our breath, that we actually are able to get energized. We're actually able to reset our entire parasympathetic nervous system just through the power of our breath. So breathing is very, very important. And there are forces that know that breath is important. And that's why there's a lot of poisoning of our air. So taking the time to breathe in between meetings, maybe when you get off a phone call and you hear some unexpected news, before you're going to go into a situation that you know is going to be some type of way, slowing your breath down. Even when you're hearing somebody just say some bullshit, you're just looking at them and you know it's easy to get hot and get heated, but just slow it down, relax your body, soften, and breathe and claim your energy. Don't give it away, because your energy is currency. Moving into the next tip is protection stones. Stones like black tourmaline. Black tourmaline is going to be a stone that you can use that absorbs energy. Any stone that is black, obsidian, tourmaline, these are going to be absorbing stones. They're going to draw in negative energy, so you don't have to draw it in, but especially for those who identify as highly sensitive. So making sure that when you walk outside, that you have amulets of protection on you. I wear copper. Copper is very sacred to me. I will even put these stones in my bath when I'm taking spiritual baths, which we're going to talk about next. I will just use these stones in ways. Also, things like rose quartz or amethyst, lapis lazuli. When you want a little magic, citrine, you'll need a little bit more energy. You need to put some more energy on your heart. You want to feel more open, more love. You can set these stones on your physical body and can meditate with them. You can walk around with them in your bag. You can hold on to them while you're in depleting Zooms or right before you're going to have a conversation that you know is maybe going to be difficult. Work your magic, work your tools. These are the natural gifts that Mother Nature has given us. And it's no coincidence that these items come from the womb of the earth. They come from the soil. We know that represents the womb of the divine feminine. So in her womb, in the womb of all creation, are these wonderful gifts that the universe has given us. So use them, use those gifts. And that leads me to the next category, which is your spiritual baths. If people might say, hey, I don't have a bathtub, you don't have to have a bathtub to do a spiritual bath. There's a lot of different remedies and recipes out there. So I'm not going to spend time going into those, But I will say, whether you have a bathtub or not, taking natural herbs that are either for removing energy and resetting energy or to bring in the type of energy that you want to have. If you need more love, if you need more luck, if you need more abundance, or if you just want more purity, right? Thinking about what it is that you need. You know, I live here in Mexico City. This is a city of 21 million people in the greater metropolitan area. It is the largest city in the Western Hemisphere. I love it because it's a walkable city, believe it or not. But when in a given walk down the street between the cars, the metro, the buses, the bicycles, the motorcycles, the other people walking around, the dogs that are walking around, I might pass thousands and thousands of people, right? Energetically, thousands and thousands of people when I just walk outside my door. And so there have been many times I've come back home and I'm like, I just walked to the store and I'm tired. I'm exhausted. I just went to the market. Why do I feel so tired? And I realized because of all the energy that's outside. And so I had to really step up my own spiritual hygiene around cleansing my own energetic field, because that's the other thing with energy. A lot of times it's not even your energy. You're picking up other people's energy, which you can't control. And what we also know is that when you bring light outside, the dark is attracted. So if you're a high frequency, high energetic being, guess what you're going to attract? You're going to attract other high frequencies, but you're also going to attract a lot of lower frequencies, because those lower frequencies are going to be wanting to feed off of you. And so you might feel like, wow, why do I always have these random experiences with, lower energies or people, or I attract this type of energy? It doesn't mean that something's necessarily wrong with you. It could absolutely mean that it's because you're a high frequency person, but that high frequency is always going to attract lower end. So I have to energetically clean myself. I do that through burning sacred kohal in my home. I do that through taking spiritual baths and cleansing my energetic field. I keep Florida water on deck. I have my own little spritzer in my purse where I just need to refresh. I'll pull out a eucalyptus spray with some lavender and just reset my home energetic field. Sometimes when I'm in between coaching sessions or I'm along Zooms back to back, I'll reset that. I'll spray myself to just refresh my energy in between meetings. So that's your spiritual baths. You also want to do the equivalent in your home. I don't allow shoes in my home. I don't want the shoes that have been walking outside on a dirty sidewalk with 21 million people. I don't need you tracking that energy into my home. So shoes got to get left at the door. I also, as I said, I burn sacred incense, copal, sage, whatever you have. I naturally cleanse my home with sacred smoke and do sacred smoke baths. If you feel like your home just needs a quick energetic refresh, even before I move into a home, I do a complete spiritual cleansing of the home before I even set a piece of furniture in the home. But if you need to do a little energetic refresh, you can always put eggs, just regular eggs. You buy them in the store. You put them in the corners of your home. Eggs absorb negative energy. You leave them there for 3 days, 5 days, or 7 days, even 24 hours, depending on how much time that you had, and then you throw them away. Also, doorknobs and light switches. Those are spaces where you want to rub a little Florida water or some cleansing or disinfectant, because we know that that's where a lot of people are touching us, where a lot of energies frequent. So those are areas of your home that you want to keep clean. You want to be aware of the type of people who enter your home. If you have altars in your home, as I said, a lot of people have altars as decorative. You want those altars to be clean, energetically, physically. You're changing the water. If you have enough flowers, you're changing the flowers, right? Keep it fresh. Keep the energy going. Also, as I said in another episode, what many indigenous cultures to this day still do, people of color all over the world, the first thing they do when they wake up in the morning is they sweep. And I love living here because that is one of the first sounds that you will hear every morning. You will hear people walking outside and sweeping the energy from the night before, sweeping the sidewalks. Sidewalks are almost an extension of your home. They don't just let their home be clean and the sidewalk be dirty. No, you're responsible for the sidewalk in front of your establishment, and you sweep that and keep that clean, just as you would keep cleaning your home. That is also something that when I visited Nigeria, I've heard those same sounds. I've heard the sounds of sweeping. So we know that that is something that many cultures do. So maintain the spiritual hygiene of your physical home, maintain the hygiene of your physical body. Also, cord cutting rituals. What do I mean by that? Cord cutting rituals are a way that you can release energetic connections to people and to ideas that no longer serve you. But right now, let's talk about people. So believe it or not, you have an energetic connection to every person that you have had sexual relations with. We know that when we are sexually active with people, there's an energetic bond. That's why you bond with people. It's not just a word, it's an actual energy that has occurred. And that energy occurs from your navel. Your navel is also your solar plexus, and that chakra controls your personal power. So when you want to activate your power, if you feel that your power is depleted, that is the part of the body, your navel, that owns your personal power, where you're the seat, if you will, of your personal power. And it is no coincidence that that is where we were connected in our mother's wombs. That is where you were fed. That is where you got your survival, your nutrients, everything that you needed to have power as a human, you got from the navel area. And so when we make love to people, there is a cord that literally extends energetically from your navel that taps into the navel of another. And when I first learned that, y'all, I was mortified because I had to really think about all the cords, if you know what I'm saying. I was like, wait, everybody we have a cord with? Like all the big, and he was like, my teacher was like, yeah, so you have to go back and cut those cords. And I was taught that you do cord cutting rituals on full moons, and you only can do one person or idea per full moon. So I had to like make a list, and I had to count down, okay, we're going to take the next X amount of moons to get these cords cut. And when I say ideas, I also mean you can cord cut from ideas of scarcity, ideas of lack, ideas of not enoughness, whatever energetic cords that you are holding. Because as we know, your energy, your kundalini energy, your chi rises from the base of your back all the way up. So if you are giving away energy in your navel because you have energy spouting out with all of these other ideas and people who you've encountered with, you are actually depleting your energy. Your energy isn't even able to rise up. And that's why promiscuity with the wrong sexual partners is real, because we pay the price of that. Some of us are still sitting with relationships where people fed off of the energy, the love, the light that we gave them, and they're still feeding off of it, even though you think you broke up with them because you actually did not cut that cord. So one of the first things that we need to do, you can even cut cords from children, from parents. And what I mean by cutting the cord does not mean you're cutting them off, does not mean that you're cutting off your connection, but you are cutting off them feeding off of you. I can still know you. I might even say hi and bye, but you're not going to feed. I'm not your food source anymore. So you're cutting off the food source that you have given them, and you're reclaiming that food source back to you. So you can take that energy, because again, energy is currency. You can take that energy to do things in your life for your purpose, for your dreams, and for your goals. I do have a cord cutting course that you can purchase on my website at shapeshiftyourlife.com. Really, it's a workshop that one of my teachers, Namingaso Pan, led. It shows you and talks you through the purpose of cord cutting and gives you all the information that you can do and how to do that ritual. That is a ritual that you can do for yourself. You don't meet anybody else but yourself in a full moon, and you can cut those cords. Also, negative self-talk. Negative self-talk. If any of you are familiar with the Japanese scholar, he's now an ancestor who has done the study on water, and you can Google it. And he basically just took a bunch of negative words and emotions, and he take them to glasses of water. And then he took a lot of positive words and affirmations, and he taped them to glasses of water. And then he photographed the crystallized formation, the way that the crystals formed in the glasses of water. And it was clear as day. You could see that basically the crystal formation of the water took on the tone of the word or emotion that surrounded it. So when you looked at anger and the way that anger crystallized into this dense and sharp, and it wasn't shiny, and it was just really like broken energy or crystal in the water. And then you looked at what love and how it was just this beautiful piece of sacred geometry that was in it, right? This is why many people will actually tape affirmations to their water bottles. But more importantly, you are water. The earth is 80% water. Your body is 80% water. So even when you don't say things out loud, just the thoughts, you're forming those energetic crystals in your body, which then become vibrations, and you're emitting and broadcasting out to the universe saying, I want more of this. That is why two individuals with a completely different mindset can go in the same room and have the exact same experience, and one of them can take that experience and thrive, and one of the other one's going to take that experience and fall. It's not because of the experience. It's the energetic broadcast that they were giving out and one's ability to transmute and alchemize that experience in order for it to be a value add versus absorbing that, allowing it to sit in you. And now that's become how you talk, how you think. And now you're more in your negative cycle. That's the difference. So yes, the way we talk to ourselves, and I'm getting so emotional when I say that, because if folks could only hear some of the things that I said to myself, my God, and I know that you're no different. We will speak to love to our families and loved ones, and sometimes our own minds we will just tear ourselves apart. And so it doesn't mean I don't still have negative self-talk, but I'm really clear that as immediately after that thought comes, I cancel that thought with something positive. And as one of my teachers told me, Zakia, not only do I want you to cancel negative self-talk in your mind, when you cancel it, I want you to then start affirming and praying. But don't pray like you're praying for you. Pray like you're praying for your daughter. And that hit me because, we're going to pray for our loved ones. We're going to add a whole nother level of energy to the people we love than we even do for ourselves sometimes. So now when I have those moments and I find myself just speaking negative, because here's the thing about negative self-talk. Negative self-talk is a projection. It hasn't happened yet. When you're feeling anxious or you're feeling guilty or you're feeling bad, it doesn't mean that the situation is anxious or bad, whatever that means. That's subjective. It's your interpretation. And since we're interpreting things through our own minds, we can decide and make up any interpretation we want. We can tell a new story. We can rewrite history. We can have a series of events that happen to us, and we can say, you know what? This was the worst thing that ever happened to me, and these things always happen to me, and this happened and that happened, and that's why I'm the way I am. Or we could say, you know what? These things kept happening to me, and I took those things and I learned from those things, and I realized that the more that I can use these as learning experiences for myself, that these can be opportunities for my growth. And if that experience hadn't happened, I wouldn't be able to have grown and to achieve into the person that I am right now. And the person that I am right now is actually the person I prayed that I would be 5 years ago. And I didn't even realize I'm her. Completely different story, same situation. So watch the way you talk to yourself. Know that you can cancel negative self-talk and doubt, and you can reframe it through your speech, through your power, and even through your mind in the way that you think. And that leads me to the next one, is the power of prayer, the power of seeking positively. One of the things that I had learned by studying the culture and the tradition of the Yoruba people in Ifa and Isheshde, and there's many cultures that do this, that this is one of the ways that I really got a self-awareness, is that they don't seek negative. They just don't say negative things. That doesn't mean negative things don't happen, but it takes a lot for someone to say something negative because they are very aware that words have power. If you ask them how they're doing great. There's always a positive affirmation, even to the point where just saying hello to an elder, I talked about this in one of my old episodes, when you say hello to an elder, they just start praying for you. I pray that you will have long life. I pray that you will have blessings. I pray that you will have more wealth. I pray that you will have many children. You just said hello, and automatically it just goes into that because they know that there's momentum in the words. And the more that you just see positive words over somebody, immersing yourself in prayers. So immersing your prayer, being intentional about your prayer, being intentional about the things that you say out loud, adding the things that you want in life, that you're daily saying them as if they're already in existence. You're already giving thanks for those things, even if you do not have the physical sign of them yet. That is what our ancestors knew how to do, knowing how to pray out loud, knowing how to speak a word, knowing how to have people pray for you. How many people wake up every day and say your name and say prayers for you? And that's a blessing that my daughter, wherever she is on the planet, her mother is praying for her every day. Her grandmother is praying for her every day. Her grandfather is praying for her every day. Her father is praying for her every day. She's praying for herself every day. That's 5 people that are just waking up with your best, highest good on their tongue. That's power. So we want to get into a place of prayer, and we also want to be praying for others, and we want people praying for us. All right. These 2 things are pretty obvious, but I'm just going to throw them in here. Obviously, eating healthy, eating well. Food is one of the things that gives us energy. And the more that we're eating high vibrational foods that are alive, foods that are not packaged, and a food that is not full of a lot of chemicals, a lot of additives, food that we can buy in bulk meaning we have to bring a bag, not it's already prepackaged. The more that we can eat fresh, healthy, clean food means I can read all the ingredients and there's probably not that many ingredients on it to begin with. The cleaner that we can eat, especially at a time when our whole food system is become a weapon of mass destruction to keep us addicted to big pharma, the biggest drug dealers in town, which keep us sick, which keep our frequency low, which depletes our energy. The whole thing, they all go together. Also exercise. And exercise is not only going to allow you to physically move your body and maintain your physical health, also going to maintain your mental health, because again, through exercise, through having a regular practice of exercise, 3 to 4 times a week, something that you're doing for yourself consistently, whether you're going to the gym, whether you're joining a group of friends, whether you're doing it right up on your home at the mat with a YouTube video. There's no excuse, but we have to move our bodies. Moving your body is going to help maintain energetic currency. Even if sometimes you just shake, that's something I do with many of my clients at my retreats. We'll just shake. Just actively shaking every single part of your body on a daily basis is such a powerful somatic practice that you can add into your soul kit. We're almost done here, shapeshifters. Pre-planning. This is something people don't think about with their energetic currency. And it's something I often do with my clients is people feel overwhelmed. People feel overburdened. People have this super long task list. And so sometimes as I'm giving them optimization tools, I'm like, you know what? Just pull out your calendar right now and let's actually plan this season out for you. You know, if you're in a high season of work, right? How can you pre-plan the time before you go into that high season? How can you post-plan as you come out of it? How can you build moments of celebration, moments of restoration, moments of connection into those busy moments where you have windows that you can take for yourself that are going to provide you with a little bit of relief because you know you're already in this state? So the more pre-planning that you can do, the more thinking ahead, taking 15 minutes on a Sunday. And this is something that I know a lot of us struggle with around schedules, because people are like, you know what? I really want to have a schedule. Here's my schedule. I start my schedule. I'm on my schedule for a couple of days. Then my schedule is off and I get off and I can't get back on and not on my schedule. And now I'm just spiraling out of my schedule. And what I've learned for myself, because again, you have to know thyself and you have to create a plan that works for you. Schedules don't really work for me in the sense that I don't have a lot of the same dates. Every day for me is different. I might have a day up in the middle of the week that I'm off all day. I might have a day where I'm having back-to-back coaching sessions. I might have a day where I'm having consulting. I might have to tend to a family matter with my mom and then go to a class and then tap into work. I don't have a day-to-day regular schedule. So what I really try to do is work on one, where those anchors that can anchor me regardless of what type of schedule, what are those anchors, like prayer, like being right, like exercising, that can anchor my day regardless of what is on the schedule? And how can I take that time on a Sunday to look at the week ahead? Because every week is different. And say, okay, I'm going to build in time here. I know when my daughter was with me and I had a lot of busy work, I would say, okay, we're going to have a mommy-daughter night here because I know that mommy's going to be out for a lot and we're not going to have some quality time. But I'm going to bake in some special time where it's just going to be me and you, and we're going to have some special mommy-daughter time, right? Those would be our mommy-daughter dates. They were really special to us. And they were intentional. And even though the whole work week might be busy and I might not have the time that I wanted in the morning with her, in the evening, it didn't matter because I knew that that Friday or that Sunday we were going to do a special cool activity. Even if it was we just go to the park or we go to this favorite restaurant and we have a home spa day, we're going to have our quality time, right? So you can build that time with loved ones. You can build that time with partners. I know that because I work remotely and I work from home, I have to have intentional time to get out of the house. I have to have intentional time so I connect with a sister friend, right? So I build social time into my schedule. I know that as you get older, a lot of your friends are busy. They're in and out of town. They have their own family commitments. So taking time to intentionally carve out space of people that I love and pre-plan that, not just allowing that to happen and not just being the friend that has to wait for them to call me. Hey, sis, what are you doing? Can we have a sister time on Sunday? It doesn't even mean that it's a physical connection. Sometimes we're just hopping on the phone. We have phone dates that we have to plan with each other. Pre-planning your meals. If you know that you've got a busy week and you know that when you reach into open that refrigerator door, you got a lot of ingredients that need to be cooked, that you don't have anything cooked. And when you don't have cooked food, you tend to order Uber, which is not helping you on your savings plan. And now you're eating junk food that's not supporting your energetic feel. Then maybe you need to take that Sunday and cook 3 meals or pre-plan breakfast for yourself, right? Pre-planning, getting ahead of the game, designing your life. We don't throw a structure onto a piece of land. We have an architect that designs it, that's thinking about the sun, that's thinking about the slope of the plot of land, that's thinking about what's in its lived environment. You're designing around all of those different variables and factors. So you've got to design that for your life. You're not going to create space in your life if you don't take the space. And I always say, if it's not on your calendar, it does not exist. So those 15 minutes on a Sunday allows you to have and then it's not Sunday, maybe it's Monday, maybe it's Saturday. What is your reset day of the week? Taking that time to take intentional space to weave in those anchors that you know that you need for yourself are going to make you feel better. Get in a place of creating momentum for yourself rather than always reacting. Oh no, there's no food in the fridge. Now I got to react. Oh no, it's been 3 meetings back to back. Now I'm tired. Now I have the migraine. I'm reacting. Oh no, my loved one is going off on me because I haven't spent that time. Plan it. Slow down. Take the moment. Put it into the calendar. And then assess, is this working? You know what? I really like it when I have my Mondays like this. I really love it when I go to this yoga class on Tuesday. Whatever that is for you, assess, is it depleting? Is it giving you more energy? And do what is working for you and compost the rest. Also, spending time in nature. This is a no-brainer. Immediate thing you can do, grounding, taking your shoes off, going into the grass, grounding your energy. And you can take a walk, being outside, being in nature in any shape or form is always going to be real quick. And, I was going to say this idea around setting boundaries, but honestly, I feel like when you are consistent with your home practices and your anchors and you're unapologetic about them and you do the level of pre-planning, and pre-planning might even be, let me have some conversations with the people I love to let them know that right now this is a peak time, or this is a time I'm working on this thing, or I really have a goal around my health, and so I need you to help me accountable, or I'm not going to be able to cook dinner on these 2 days because I'm taking this new course. I can meal plan on Sunday and we can split the meals up. Having those conversations beforehand so people understand what you're about, those will be all the boundaries that you need. Because your energetic field will be so clear, so optimized, so aligned that you'll only attract more of that. And what does not serve you, you'll be too busy. Frankly, you just won't have time for it. So it just won't even be able to enter your space. It'll be like a magnet that just repels off of it. And people will just see. People will start falling off. People will call you to do those habits that you know aren't healthy. You know, we have relationships that are built on unhealthy habits, and you won't be able to hang out with them anymore because that's not a habit you share. So yeah, I know that all the time we connect, we smoke weed together, but I'm busy. I don't have time for that right now. So that relationship is going to fall down. So you don't even have to worry about, I need to, tell people they're in and out of my life. They will fall in line. They will get in their lane when you get in yours. When you get in course. And that's the invitation, shapeshifters. The more you are aligned with your anchors, with your practices in your toolbox of energetic sovereignty, the more that you'll have more of that and the more that you will repel. So as the world continues to whirl and the world continues to give you the distraction, the division, and the gloom of the day, you will still be activated. And so as the world is transforming and shifting, you will be part of the light bearer. You will be one of the culture keepers. You will be one of the energetic stabilizers that people will look to. You will be a North Star for yourself, for your family, and the communities that you're served, because people will be looking at you like, well, how come they look so good? How come they still got money in their pocket? How come they shiny? How come they're not aging like everybody else? How come they have all this energy? How come they keep having wonderful opportunities? Because they found the code. You found the code. And the code is you. It's that fingerprint that is unique to you. It's your unique special sauce, your beautiful qualities that only you bring to the world. And the more you harness them, you take time to be aware of them. You feed them. You honor your personal temple. You honor it like a garden. You give the right nutrients. You water it. You expose it to the right conditions. The only thing it can do is grow. And that comes from reclaiming our energy. Stop giving it away. And this is in a society that, let's be clear, is living and feeding off. We are the energy source of Babylon. We are the energy source of the Matrix. That's why when you look at the movie The Matrix, they had to plug you in. Neuralink, beware. They had to plug you into it. Because when you weren't plugged in, you were energetically sovereign. And when we look at society, even when we look at what is powering these technological devices right now, where do they go to get the energy for them? They go and get minerals, coltan, from the earth, from the womb, from the soil that grow where? Congo, Africa. They got to go into her womb in order to get the nutrients that make technology go. They have to go into her womb in order to farm the natural resources for products and services. They can't live without going into her womb. They keep trying to act like they're so sovereign. They've got their own system. Every system that they have is built off of something that they got out of the earth. Everyone. Name one that they didn't. Name a piece of technology, a breakthrough, an idea that didn't somehow come from nature. You won't find it. So you don't have to chase the tech. The tech is already you. You are the spiritual technology. You are the technology that powers the earth. All you have to do is tap into it. You are your own algorithm. You have created your own genetic code. You don't need to be recoded in theirs. It's already within you. And only we knew as a society that we could liberate and revolutionize society by taking our energy back. If we only we knew the power that we hold. Look at the dollar. It's a piece of paper. You give it freedom. You give it power. And when you stop believing in it, it becomes powerless. I think of all the lip service, the power and the energy that we give to politicians and business people and the politics and government and elections. If we took an ounce of that, an ounce, and gave that to ourselves, if we took an ounce of that and says, you know what? We're just going to clean up our community today. You know what? We're just going to trade medicine and create a mutual aid network. You know what? We're just going to educate our own because we actually realize we have everything we need within ourselves. Stop falling for the okie doke and falling for the distraction where you think that they got the power. Reclaim your power and step into your sovereignty. All right. That is what I have for you today, shapeshifters. I know this was a bit of a long episode. I hope you're going to take something away from this that is going to empower you to move forward with your own energetic sovereignty. Until next time, keep shifting. Bye. Supreme gratitude for tuning in today, shapeshifters. Your presence is a gift, and I truly appreciate you. If you're feeling like it's time for an energetic reset, I got you. Download my free chakra tune-up, a transformative 7-day guide to realign your energy, harmonize with nature's rhythms, and recharge your spirit. Head on over to shapeshiftyourlife.com. That's one word, SH, the number 8, PE, shiftyourlife.com, and grab your copy today. Keep shifting.